This is Orsi, official old guy at oldguytalkstome.com, a podcast dedicated to helping older guys create kick-ass lives for themselves and those that they love. It's for women too. Each week, I bring you a special guest to help you create that life that you imagine for yourself and those that you love. We talk anti-aging medicine, personal growth, relationships, and sex, vices, and other topics that many don't want to talk about but need to. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to be old. Also, if you want to know 3 ways to get laid more frequently without begging, go to oldguytalks.com and opt in. When you do, you're going to get my informative video on 3 simple things you can do to get laid more frequently without begging, so you don't have to turn in your man card. And ladies, you may want your man to know these things, because I think you'll like it too. Additionally, you'll be notified weekly when a new podcast episode is ready for you to consume. Periodically, I will share with you other stuff that will help you create that life that you want for yourself and those that are important to you. Don't want to miss anything? Be sure to subscribe, share, and review this podcast. This podcast brought to you with the support of El Artista Cigars, makers of the Big Pappy, my favorite, a cigar designed by baseball superstar David Ortiz. And be sure to check out my podcast with Ram Rodriguez, the 3rd generation CEO of El Artista Cigars. You'll learn a lot about, well, what it takes to grow tobacco for cigars. This is Orsi, official old guy at oldguytalkstome.com, a podcast dedicated to helping older guys create kick-ass lives for themselves and those that they love. And part of that is, well, working out when you get older. And as we know, that has its challenges. And the old guy had his challenges with injuries that taken a long time to heal, all sorts of stuff. But we're going to talk about how to work out properly and a whole bunch of other things with Nathaniel Wilkins. And Nate spent 23 years as a park and recreations administrator and then decided to manage fitness programs at hotels and spas. He reinvented himself and devoted his career to making health, wellness, and healing to be something that is achievable for everyone. In fact, he views that as a person's birthright. He leads by example and motivates others to improve their well-being and quality of life through living a healthy lifestyle. He's got all sorts of certifications, including corrective exercise specialist, isolation stretching, all gain stretching, stretch zone method. And we're going to talk about stretching. That's something I don't do often enough. He's Schwinn cycling certified. He also is a Red Cross certified and life change coach for weight loss and vibration training certified. Welcome to the program, Nate.
Thank you so much for having me. Look, I'm waiting for the opportunity to exchange some ideas and concepts with you. You know, we talked last week a little bit, you know, and I forgot that I was supposed to have my cigar, but that's okay. You got one, and I have a little glass of wine here. I love red wine. You know, that helps us live a lot longer. So, you know, whenever you're ready, I'm ready to go.
Okay, well, we're all ready. Yes, I've got, you know, if you're listening to this, I got my cigar. I got my Big Pappy from El Artista, which is a Dominican Republic cigar designed by former baseball great David Ortiz, and it's called the Big Pappy. He's got a little baseball. He's got them looking up towards the sky, and I got my scotch going, my Glen Grant 12-year-old, which was given to me by a friend. So I'm all ready to well, I'm not ready to do exercise. I'm ready to talk about exercise because
I hear you.
I'm on a different path at this particular moment, but I do exercise. So Nate, tell me, what is the most important thing you did today?
So the most important thing I did today was, you know, I got up out of the bed. It's important to get started, right? So if you get up early, you can actually control the day. So I'm an early riser. I get up, I walk my dogs, I go outside, I see what the air smells like, I see what the Creator has to say to me, and then I'm on my way to do exercise. You know, notice that I said I'm on my way to do exercise. So I do a boxing class at about 6 o'clock in the morning, boxing fitness. That gets me going for the rest of, my day, where I train people and I do, teach classes and the likes. So, the important thing is to get moving. And I'm talking about at this age, at 66 years old, it's easy to get stiff. And so for me, it's better for me to continue to move my body and move as much as I can. So that's the most important thing. But I would even say that before that, it's making sure I have the right mindset, that when I wake up in the morning, that I tell myself, this is going to be the best day of my life. I'm going to do everything I can to make it the best day.
Yeah. So how do you set your mind to it? Because I have a ritual that I go through, but I want to hear what your ritual is.
So the first thing in the morning is that while I'm actually getting my coffee and getting myself ready to take the dogs out, so I grab my phone and my earbuds or earbuds, and I tune into some positive information about moving my life forward or doing what's necessary to accomplish the goals and objectives. So I listen to all types of mentors. When I can't pay for them to be close to me, I could actually access their information. So I listen to these people who have gone before me and created opportunities, particularly around success. So there's the likes of a Les Brown or a Seth Godin. These kinds of people are people that actually give me information to keep me going and to move me forward in my process. So I'm always working to make my mind fertile ground to accomplish the goals that I'm looking to accomplish.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. So not that I'm in the same class, but you gotta get me into your rotation there sometimes. I'm just kidding.
Okay, I'll do that.
My podcast. So how did you happen to get into this workout health space?
So, that's everybody, and I always say that's a loaded question because everybody asked me that same question. And I would contend that most of us have gone through some health struggles, right? That we get a wake-up call about, if we don't do something about what we're doing, we won't have to worry about it, that we won't be here. So the same was with me. I was living a halfway decent life, or at least I thought I was living a halfway decent life when I was a Parks and Recreation administrator, eating what I wanted to eat, drinking what I wanted to drink, hanging out with the people that I wanted to hang out with. And those kinds of things actually tell on you, right? And so one day I felt some pain in my chest, went to the doctor, and I tell the story all the time. Went to the doctor, they kept me, found out that I was having some issues with my heart, stayed there. People came who worked for me, looking at me and thought, well, this guy's not going to make it. And I said to myself while I was there in that bed, if I ever get a chance, I'm going to change everything. They finally let me out. I went to one cardiologist appointment. I didn't like the medicine. I didn't like the nitroglycerin. I didn't like the cholesterol medicine, the heart medicine, the blood pressure stuff. I started to change everything, the way I eat. I started walking, exercising. And so that sort of changed my body. I always tell people, I laugh at myself because I used to say that, the clothes were getting smaller when in fact it was me. I was getting bigger. I ballooned up somewhere at about 250 pounds, eating late at night. Sure. Hanging out with the wrong crowds, because everybody that I'm hanging out with was trying to get me to party, right? Trying to get me to live the lifestyle they wanted to live. So I changed that around. And then over a period of time, I became involved with teaching classes down to directing programs. And now I've created my own program through the perseverance and the education that I've received through the work that I do in health, wellness, and healing. And so I want to be clear that this work is more about living a healthy lifestyle than it is about me looking good. Although I love to look good. I know you told me that before, that I look pretty good. So any of that is good. But what's important most for me is that I have the health so that I can continue to move through life without going to the doctor as much as some people go to the doctor taking the medication that just doesn't make me feel good. So that's how I got there.
Yeah. a lot of times people, you see all these magazines, and you see that dude with the abs and this and that. And first of all, a lot of that uh, is not real in terms of, they've dehydrated themselves so that they can be ripped. They can do all that stuff. There's a lot of airbrushing to the photos, and also there's a certain genetic component that allows them to have that ripped body. But that ripped body doesn't always turn into being healthy. And it's it doesn't mean that they've got cardiovascular health, that they've got aerobic endurance, that they've got strength. Actually, a lot of times these guys are so pencil thin that they hardly have any strength. But let's talk about exercising and being older. Why should you work out as you get older?
Well, and people have heard this before, but the real key is movement is medicine, right? If you move, you will be able to continue to move. The less you move, the less you'll be able to move. And so that will lead you into all types of disease. So the aging process goes down. We lose energy, we lose muscle mass. And when we lose muscle mass, we cannot continue to protect the bones, and then the bones start to break. So all of these things sort of combined together can put us in a situation, or a negative situation. It's kind of like with your bank account, right? If you don't put money in the bank account and keep taking it out, you'll be in a negative. So that's what happens. We need to put some positive energy. We need to eat well. We need to sleep well. We need to get away from stress. And I would contend we need to build muscle. And some people don't necessarily believe that. They think that they can get away with doing, things that don't have to do with pushing a force or pulling a force, when in fact, those are the things that really make us stronger. And so it's important, as we continue to age, that we actually hold on to muscle mass, and we hold on to energy. And the more energy you expend, the more energy comes back, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the reason why we need to do that as we age.
Yeah, I think one of the big things as you get older for a lot of people is their bones become weak, osteoporosis, and right. The only way to really, the best way to increase bone density is by pushing weight. And that sure. It happens. You and there's actually lots of scientific studies that show that when you put bone under stress, in terms of pushing weight, that the bone density increases, which makes you more resistant to fracture and things like that.
Absolutely.
How, we touched about this briefly, but how important is mindset, especially as you get older?
Listen, it is very important. First of all, you have to have a certain level of confidence that you can continue to get out and get up and do what you need to do. So that starts in the mind. Then you have to have this certain belief or attitude that you are going to be able to take care of yourself, that you want to do the things that puts you in a position to travel, to hang out with your grandkids, to lift bags, to actually function at the level you want to function at. And so that is, it starts in the head. And the other thing about it, if you don't have the mental side together, you'll do other things to damage yourself. You'll start to eat wrong. You'll start to associate wrong, right? That you'll blame other people for what you're not doing. So one has to fix their mind around where they're going and actually go about taking things in their own hand to own their own life again, or to own it, period. So yeah, mindset is right at the top of the list, or the mental capacity to function well.
Yeah, I think that personal responsibility and mindset go together, because you determine with your mindset what you want your life to look like. And if you don't have any idea about what you want your life to look like, well, it's gonna not look pretty. It's not gonna look pretty, and that all goes back to mindset. Now, can you get stronger as you get older?
I would, let me say this to you. I feel like you can get stronger but you can't jump in the gym or jump on pieces of equipment and not know what you're doing. That it is like anything else. It is a process that you start at a certain place and you continue to add to that. And you can do that as you get older. Some people don't believe that, but I am of the opinion, and I've been able to prove that for myself, that I could actually get stronger or maintain a certain amount of strength. And in some instances, I would tell you that I could do things that some 30 or 40-year-olds can't do because they haven't been in the process of taking better care of themselves.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it is a process, especially as you get older. I mean, my favorite thing is powerlifting. That's what I like to do, and I lift what I consider for myself heavy weights, 90, 100-pound dumbbells, and bench press those. And the highest I've ever gotten is 110. But it took me years to get that. I started off at 30 pounds,
Right.
and it took me a long time to get there, to build up the not just the muscle, but the soft tissues, the ligament and the tendons, to be able to support that, because those actually take a lot longer to develop than muscles do. I listened to an interview with a gentleman by the name of Chuck Summers, who is the men's Olympic gymnastics coach, or was, for like 20 years or whatever. And he made a very interesting comment during an interview. And he says it takes 90 days to grow muscle, and it takes 210 days to grow soft tissue and ligaments. And that's where people get injured, because their muscle growth outpaces their soft tissue growth, and they can't support it, and so that's where a lot of the injuries come. Now, Nate, how does someone go about, and we're going to talk about your website and your program that you have in a little bit, but how does someone figure out what is the right workout for them?
Oh, here's the thing. I think that people have to determine what their goals and objectives are first, right? So I would contend that the first thing we need to do is make sure that we're in condition, right? So if you haven't been working out, you probably need to go check the doctor to make sure everything is in place, right? That the blood pressure, the heart, the lungs, everything is functioning. And then maybe you want to start out with something light, or maybe you even want to do stretching or walking or something like that. Make sure that your water intake is okay. And then I would think that you would want to start with something that you like. Maybe it's a class, maybe it's a riding class, something called spinning, or maybe you want to go to sort of a workout class that's full body, that gives you a challenge for your whole full body, and you're lifting maybe the lightest weights or something that you can do. The one thing you don't want to do is just jump in a class like so many people do, jump in and be in a hurry to get stuff done. And then because you're so sore, you end up not going to the class again. So you have to actually, measure and determine over time how you're going to be consistent. So remember, here's what I said, how you're going to be consistent, because the key to this thing is consistency. Consistency shows up. You can't go for like one day and then the next week go for one day. You need about 2 to 3 sessions a week of what you like. And again, I would contend that it's resistance training that would be sort of the basics. But if you wanted to do, say for example, yoga, if you like yoga, or you like Pilates, if you like boxing, there are any number, man, there are just so many opportunities out here for different programs that people can actually check into. And that would be one of the things that I would suggest that you do, is that you start to check out what's available. There's something called Class Pass. You can buy actually Class Pass and just move around and check out any number of programs that you want to check out. And then maybe you find what works for you, and you continue to stay with that, and then you branch out. I would say that, having a variety of different programs in your toolkit will allow you to stay fit and functional in your life. So that's kind of how I think it should work.
Yeah. So what kind of ratio? And I'll tell you, I mean, what I do is I do 3 days of resistance training of weights, and then I do 4 days, 3 days of running, and then 1 day of kind of walking, not particularly strong, but so I try to get out every day and do something every day. What's your theory on combining resistance and cardio?
So again, I am a person who believes that you could actually combine cardio with resistance training. That if you cut down on your resting period and the moves that you make in a particular resistance training program will give you cardio. And I'm not a person at this age that believes in steady state cardio where you're running miles at a time. I think short bursts of cardio are, is key to you're burning fat and weight in this age group. So I am a supporter of cardio, but cardio at a different level, different types of cardio. That's why I go to these different programs that allow me to get up and down, that allows me to move my body from side to side or to run for short distances. That way, I'm looking for a way to breathe better. So that to me would be the combination that I would recommend, as opposed to somebody who just likes to run. I mean, I don't take that away from people. I think that's a different style of cardio. What I'm looking to do and what I encourage people to do is to use cardio in different ways so that you can burn fat and burn weight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Nothing like doing burpees in between your when you're lifting weights.
If you like burpees,
Yeah, I don't like burpees. That's why I do them at the very beginning of my workout, because the whole time I'm working out, I'm dreading doing them, and so I do them during my when I'm doing my warm up weights. That's when I do the burpees. I'm like, okay, I got those out. The old guy has been talking about doing a Spartan race for a long time, and because of some injuries and COVID, that has not happened. But I still have that on my to-do list. Um, how, because you kind of talked about this, and maybe I just want to get a little bit longer into the cardio thing. So how long cardio, and are you talking about intense spurts, interval training, things like that, or what are you talking
Yeah,
about there?
yeah. So for me, like as an example, a jumping jack would be a good example of a cardio. Like if you do 15, 20 seconds of a jumping jack, or what people call Tabatas, right? You get 15, 20 seconds, then you get a 10-second break. And you do that for about five or six times. That'll get your heart rate going. That'll have you, gasping for air. That's the kind of breathing that I'm looking for, that I would encourage people to do. The in through the nose and out through the mouth, more diaphragmatic breathing, right? That actually starts to cleanse the system. Or, like you said, the burpees will get you there. But just sort of running in place with high knees or something like that for about 20 seconds, that'll get you going. I'm not opposed to steady state, cardio on a treadmill or running or what have you, if that's what you like. But what I find at this age, these short bursts of intensity are what makes the difference, that can help you change the composition of your body, that can help you burn the fat, that can help you burn the weight. That's what I'm looking for and what I encourage people to do. There's nothing worse than carrying around, a lot of weight on your body, because it puts pressure on your knees and you don't move as well. So that's the stuff that I'm looking to help people do, is to manage their weight, but at the same time, build up, their heart rate, or build a heart and lungs capacity.
Yeah. You know, I mean, obviously it's politically incorrect to use the word fat. Uh, but you know, if you're fat, your joints, and I mean, I'll admit, I have fat genes. Some people are skinny. Some people are naturally skinny. I'm fat, and people in my family are morbidly obese. My mom was 300 pounds. She was a diabetic. You know, my sister's like that. And so I could get like that in a heartbeat. I could just like as soon the highest I've ever been was 240, and I, you know, 5'11", 240. That's
Mhm.
you know, you know, I look like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yeah, but if you look at the
People listen
charts,
for,
they'll tell you it's obese. Hmm?
oh yeah, without a doubt. Obese
Yeah.
is a nice sophisticated word. I was fat. I was a fat fucker. Just call it what it is. Just call it what it is. So you know,
But you know, there's something, there's such thing as being skinny fat. That, and you alluded to that
mhm.
earlier, that just because you look a certain way, that doesn't mean that your insides are clean. You could have problems with your inside, right? And
Oh yeah.
your diet can actually, while you look a certain way, your diet could be a problem for you. So I think we have to be cognizant of that. There are some people who what they call themselves big bone, what have you, and they may be in pretty good shape. But if you're carrying fat, you know when you're carrying fat.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually did a major transformation on myself in that I when I got to 240, I started training to go up Mount Kilimanjaro,
Mm-hmm.
and 9 months later, I was at 165, which was not a good weight for me. But I trained my body to go up for a long time and hike uphill it's basically a 5 day hike uphill, and it's a long 5 days. But I was just training. I trained my body to be specifically a little thing, and then a friend of mine. I was somewhere, and he said, "You need to grow some shoulders," and that's put me back in the gym because I was like from the waist down. I mean, I was muscular and lean, but my whole upper body was actually non-existent,
Yeah,
and
shoulders make a
so
difference.
so it was. Oh yeah, yeah, they sure do. They sure do. Um, why is stretching important?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
For
And
any
I know, and just so everyone knows that if you go to Nate's site, uh, there's a stretching PDF or an ebook that's available.
right, we give a ebook on stretching. And
Right, right.
I wasn't stretching for a long time. And I got injured because I was doing, trying to lift these heavy weights and trying to look a certain way. You know how that goes, right? So I
Mhm.
started to stretch, and then I realized the benefits of stretching could take me a long way into my journey. And I didn't say this earlier, but I'm trying to reach 100. I'm in the race to reach 100, and so stretching is a vital part of that. It gives me the agility, the flexibility, um, uh, to actually do the things that I want to do. When I'm stiff, I could do some stretching and it breaks up that stiffness. It makes the blood flow a lot better. It makes me sleep better. I mean, it's just overall general. Um, it is one of the pieces that I think is vital in what we call the ageless workout. You gotta stretch your body. You have to get longer. And for people like me, at 66, we for some reason we start to get smaller. We roll our shoulders forward. We don't protect the internal organs because we're bending over. And so stretching will allow us to sit up taller, to get longer, to look younger. I mean, the benefits are just endless in terms of stretching. I
Yeah.
mean, you could do it with your face,
Well,
your fingers, all kinds of stuff.
Well, you need to open up your diaphragm so you get more oxygen, and but
Absolutely.
part of that whole getting shorter, it has to do with your vertebrae rubbing on each other and getting basically attrition of the bone in your vertebrae. That actually happens, and actually that happens with your teeth too. Your jaw gets smaller because your teeth, when you chew, rub on each other, and so when they rub on each other, they get flatter and flatter, and so they that space gets smaller as we get older. Uh, if you How often should people change their training regimen?
I think that at some point, now with the Ageless workout, we're always looking to confuse the muscles. We're always looking to do a different workout. But if you are a basic kind of person, I think if you're going 4 to 6 weeks with the same type of workout, I think that at some point, unless you change the amount of weight that you're doing, unless you change, the speed of the lifting, or going slow or fast, it becomes redundant, and you've reached a point where, you're really just going through the motions. And so for us, people like you and me, we should be looking for ways to continue to challenge our muscles, to make our muscles and our bodies look forward to changing. So after about 4, at a maximum of 8 weeks, I think we should change the program, either lifting differently with, different weights, and, incrementally changing the speed, or changing actually the program that you're doing. Maybe you go to a different program with a particular instructor, just to get yourself out of that routine.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned instructor. One of the things that people get injured, and I see it in the gym. I was fortunate enough to train with a former, actually for almost 10 years, with a former Mr. Hawaii. But when I trained with him, he was in his 40s and 50s. So any injury any injury I could have, he's already had. But one of the things that he really worked on with me, and I think this also actually allows you to lift heavier weights, is form. I mean, it was just like, the form was really critical. You want to talk about form and training with a professional trainer?
You're hitting on some things that we think are very pertinent in what we do. What we call it, we look at posture and positioning, right? The way you actually work on a particular exercise, if you're using the full range of motion, if you're setting up correctly in the bench, or if you're lying correctly so your back is down on a bench, that you may be squatting the right way, if you're turning your head while you're doing a particular exercise. These things can be damaging to joints and cause injuries. So it's vitally important that we do the things that are necessary to avoid injury. So when you talk about positioning, that is definitely one of the pieces that we need. Now, and then the other thing is not to rush into lifting too much heavy weight until you're ready. It's a progression. And maybe, even
Right.
with positioning, if you're trying to lift a little bit heavier, maybe you need somebody to help you with that, get you a spotter. So these are some of the basics of sort of weight training. If you're going to do weight training, even if you're doing body weight exercises, positioning is important. Say, for example, if you're going to do a plank, if you're going to do a squat, if you're going to do a push-up. I mean, you've seen bad form in every different way that you can. That's why we recommend that everybody should get at least a coach for 3 to 4 times, just so that you can learn well. Even coaches need coaches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know at the gym, I always laugh. I see people with the dumbbells and uh, they lean back totally wrong with the dumbbells. And next
Sure,
thing you know, they got both feet up in the air off the ground. And I'm just
sure.
going like, oh my gosh, you are out of balance. That's actually so dangerous. It's kind of, you know, it's like, but they're just like totally out of control. And I'm going like, no, 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 you don't have control. You need a little more stability. And the more stability you get, actually, the that type of lifting will not carry them to higher weights if they want to get to higher weights. Did you
Well,
know that there are 76 additives that have been approved by the FDA that can be added to wines? You want a wine with shit in it that may not be good for you? Well, there is an option for wines that have been produced naturally, organically, that have been tested, that have no sugar. And when they don't have any sugar, that means that they're ketosis and intermittent fasting friendly. These wines have been produced with a great deal of care on small farms and are available to you. How do you get them? Find out by going to www.oldguytalks.com/dry farms, all one word with an S, and find out more. And with your initial order, you can get a bottle for 1 penny. That's right, a bottle for 1 penny. And they taste great. They taste great. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't procrastinate. Get those wines now.
well, it's so many
That
times
will
you
actually
see,
inhibit their ability.
so many times you see people in the gym swinging the weights, right, as opposed to lifting, or you see them arching their
Yeah.
back when they do a particular lift. These things are associated with maybe they've seen somebody do it, or they're trying to accomplish something that they shouldn't try to accomplish until they have actually gotten down the basics. We encourage people just to do the motions first before you even take on weight, just to figure out how to do it. So, I mean, there's, you know, I guess one of the things that we run into is that people think when they look at the work that we're doing, that it's easy to do. And while it may look easy, in order to do it right, you have to focus, right? So it's not about how many times you could do it, but how right you can do it. That's what makes the difference. Yeah. That's how you change your body, doing it right.
Yeah. I think if you're not, especially for a lot of exercises, if you're, and there's mirrors all over the place, if you're not looking at yourself in the mirror upright, then you're probably not doing it right.
And you know, and some people look in the mirror and they still are not doing it right. That's again why they need to get somebody to help them get these pieces out. You know,
yeah,
and not just any trainer, right? Somebody who, like you said, you train with somebody who knows what they're doing, and they know how to eliminate injuries. They know where the pitfalls are. These are the things that I think make the difference. And you know, so many times people want to cut corners. I think when you cut the corners, you end up having to go back and relearn what you haven't learned in the first place. So I encourage people to at least get a trainer, a good trainer, at least 2 to 3 times, just to walk through and teach you the basics, or coach if you will.
Yeah. So Nate, let's say you're in a gym and you started working out. What would you say that you look for? And I want to say look for because in these times, everyone knows the right things to say. You know, everybody's got the right language. Everybody knows the right thing to say. I mean, there's no doubt. There's no doubt about it that, you know, we've all been trained to say the right things. But how do you recognize someone that, you know, you're looking over and you say like, okay, that's a good trainer and that's a bad trainer. I got to tell you a funny story. So I used to work out in this place when I used to live in Phoenix, and there was one trainer, and it was hilarious. What his clients were paying him for was to have a conversation with him for an hour. They hardly did any training. They just talked.
Okay.
Okay. Which I thought was pretty interesting. I I mean, he was a nice enough guy. I can't imagine that I would want to pay him for almost 2 years to talk to me every morning. Uh, but how do you assess a trainer that's good, that knows what they're doing?
Well, let me ask you this question. Uh, you know, when you are looking for an investment, do you ask people where do they put their money? Do they invest here? Are they good at managing their money or managing the accounts, or do you look at somebody that's just willy nilly and their whole financial picture is out of shape? You look for somebody who has it all together. And so I would contend that if you're going to get a trainer, you don't want a trainer who has focused uh, all their effort on their bodies, that they look like Adonis, or they look like impeccable. What you want is somebody who I would think dresses the part, who has the knowledge, who can direct you in the right way, who's done the research, who's had who got the put the work in to get the certifications or the education, and they are actually able to tell you what particular weights to use at a certain time, not to go too heavy, not to go too light, making sure that you're breathing the right way, that they are looking at your rate of exertion. I mean, all of these kinds of things determine whether the coach or the trainer is actually attuned, or you see a trainer like you're talking about, somebody who is just sitting there talking. And again, if that's what the customer wants, then a lot of time trainers actually deliver what the customer wants. Maybe that's all they want to do, is because you see a lot of men in particular go to the gym and all they want to do is interrupt some other people, tell jokes, and maybe lift 1 or 2 pieces of weight, and then go back and tell another joke, get some water, and then determine that maybe I've been in the gym for 2 hours. Yeah, you've been in the gym for 2 hours, but did you do some work for 2 hours? So, man, there are any number of pieces that you need to look at. But if you're really looking for somebody that's going to give you a good training program, you want to look for somebody, one, who takes good care of the body, who is professional in their delivery, that they know what it's all about. And, the other thing is, if you find a trainer that's not busy, then there may be some problems with that trainer. So I think that, there are some telltale signs that you can look for.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine. He used to be a college football player, and he's unfortunately he's kind of gone downhill quite a bit. And but he used to go into this gym that I used to go to in Phoenix, and and I walked up to him one day and I said, Bill, it's amazing. You got a 15-minute workout into an hour here today.
Well, some people can do that.
Yeah, yeah. It was, he was just talking and talking and talking, and he like go lift something and wasn't particularly heavy, but it was just he just and then like okay, then he'd go talk to someone else and stuff, and it was his pre-work social hour.
I've seen people do that, but here's the key. Can you find a trainer that can get a hour workout into 15 minutes? that can keep you that focused, that can keep you that determined, and without getting you hurt. I mean, that's kind of what you really want, is that you want somebody that's going to give you the challenges that are going to help you get to the place that you want to get within a time frame, and you feel like each time that you've done something, that you've learned something, that you can go on to the next thing. I think that's a piece of this thing that you're talking about, is how you find a good trainer or coach.
Yeah. So Nate, how long do you think someone, let's say someone we're talking about in our 60s, how long do you think we should work out? Should you work out half hour, an hour, 2 hours, or what's your thoughts on that?
So I think that is a minimum that I recommend is about 5 days a week, a minimum of 5 days a week. Sometimes I say 3 to 5, but if you can get somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes of a training or workout in, then I think that that's sufficient. A lot of times what we find now is the workouts are about 50 minutes. And I think that, you can get everything in that you need to get in. That would include your warm up, and that would include the cool down, and then the work area in the middle. I think that that's sufficient. When you start to get into 2 hours, unless you're going to break it up, right? If you're going to do like 2-a-days, some people do 2-a-days. I mean, that's different than going to the gym for a solid 2 hours. And then, I'm going to say to you that if you're in there working out for 2 hours, you're doing some talking. You're not really you're not really in there for 2
you
hours.
tell
Unless you're a professional.
Yeah, or you may be checking the texts on your phone and other things.
Or checking other things. I mean, there's sometimes the aesthetics in there can make you stay for longer than 2 hours.
Well, yes, I've had that experience. Yeah,
you get fixed. You can get fixed on something that just takes your mind to all different kind of places. You think, well, could you do that again? I can't believe you did that.
So Nate, I have this feeling, or not this feeling, this concept, and the old guy has recently moved into a one of these 55 and over communities, and
okay,
and it was interesting. The gym here is killer. I mean, it's a very good. It's not quite like a full gym that you would find in a lot of places, but for a gym, it's actually very, very good. But for me, I had to leave. I had to go work out in another gym simply because of who was around me. And no one was. It's for me. I need people around me that are pushing themselves, so that by example, I push myself, and then the things that I'm doing pushes the person watching me too. Because we're all watching people at the gym. There's no doubt about it.
Sure. I would I understand what you're saying, because what in essence it's association brings about a simulation. Say, for example, if you go for a walk with a person, the person will keep up with the pace that is being set. So if you're walking slow, that person with you will go slow. But if you're going to speed up, the person will speed up. And so what you're saying is that you want to be around people who are really moving and motivated toward getting the work done. And I understand that. So, I think that it's mindset, because people think that, maybe I don't need to, work out like that because that might hurt me, the thinking. But I can tell you that I have a 73-year-old gentleman that I work out with. People marvel at his ability to do the exercises because he's always moving around. And they, what I find is that they migrate toward him. They want to pull off of his energy. You see? Yeah. That they may have come in with a certain idea or mindset, and they see him work and they move over. They want to borrow the weights. They want to use the machine. They want to just do everything that he's doing, or at least be close to him, because they see that energy. So it can work in a lot of different ways. I think it just depends on the mood that's being set in a particular place. So, I think you're right. If it wasn't conducive to what you're trying to do, you really needed to find some place that was really conducive to your style.
Yeah, it was an interesting phenomenon because when I walked in, without a doubt, I was the strongest person in the room.
Oh my God. Well, you need
E-
a new room.
Exactly, exactly. That's exactly what that's exactly. I worked out there for a few months, and I'm going like, and I could feel myself kind of going down,
Right.
in terms of I just said like, I can't be here. I've said this about a number of things. If you are the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Sure.
You need to go out in places that be around things that, and this is about the vibrancy of life and staying young even though you're getting older, is to be around where you are constantly working to be a better version of yourself. And it's not always working. I mean, obviously I'm sitting here smoking a cigar and having a
Mhm.
scotch, so it's not all work, but to be in a position where you're being pushed by the people around you is actually a very good thing.
So here's what I recommend. One is that you're saying that you want to be around people who make you get on your tiptoes, um, and they'll make you better. So the other thing that I contend is that if you are a younger person, you want to get an older person that can teach you the ropes, that can show you how to go to war because they know where the pitfalls are. And if you're an older person, you want to get around some younger people so that they can get you motivated and show you what's happening with the technology. These machines now, the technology is just amazing. And if you don't understand how to use them, you'll be lost in space. But a young person can come up and push buttons and get you going, or you see them working out and they'll get you going, they'll get you motivated. So it actually works in together. So the generations need to continue to help each other. I think that's the best way that we can function. If you're younger, get your older person. If you're older, get around younger people. That will make us even better and make us accomplish what we're accomplished or want to accomplish in our workouts, but then overall goals and objectives as well.
Yeah. So, uh, you talk about different kinds of workouts. What's your take on free weights versus machines?
I'm not a I'm not opposed to machines because they can help. They're sort of preset, and even some of machines now will count the number of repetitions for you. With free weights, you got to count your own repetition, and sometimes those machines are set up so that you could actually let go of you know the sort of I think that some of them are built around pulley systems, right? You could let those go, but with free weights, if you let them go, you may hurt yourself, or you maybe do some damage. So you got to know how to use free weights. But I would even say that you have to know how to use machines as well. It just depends on the person. I'm more of a free weight person if I'm going to do weights at all. But if free weights are not available, then I go to a machine.
Yeah.
But I'm
I
always looking for an
yeah.
opportunity to use free weights.
I like free weights, and I don't know whether this is just uh, a bullshit thing or not, because I think with free weights you engage a lot of smaller muscle fibers for balance
Hmm.
than you do with a
Interesting.
machine. Yeah, because
Interesting.
you can bench press certain things on a machine, but you don't have to balance everything. Versus like if you're doing dumbbells, first of all you have to lean back properly and put them up the first time, and it just requires a lot. It requires a lot of balance in a lot of different ways.
Or balance and control. I mean, the same, but sometimes I think that you got to do the same things with machines. But I would agree with you that you have to have a lot more focus and attention when you're actually lifting free weights.
Yeah, yeah. I will tell you that one of the things, if you are on a cruise ship, do not lift your normal weights. because because you don't notice it when you're walking around, but when you're lifting weights, the going back and forth on the water really affects your weights and the balance. It was an interesting phenomenon. I'm going like, I was doing some with some free weights. I'm going like, oh, this is different on a boat. I can feel when I'm lifting, I can actually feel the boat in the water.
Okay. I have to keep that in mind when I get another opportunity to go on a boat or a cruise or something. I haven't
Yeah.
been, COVID-19 changed
Sure.
a whole lot of things in my life and probably in other people's lives as well. So, but I'll keep that in mind. I'll use that with some people that, because some of my clients actually own yachts, right? So I will ask them, do you have free weights? Are you doing? Can you tell the difference if you're lifting weights while you're out to sea or out doing things? Do you work out when you're out on the water? Nope. This is the first time I've ever heard that.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to learn more about that.
Yeah. It was an interesting phenomenon because I was like sitting there and I was like, oh yeah, I'm having to do a lot more control than I normally do.
So how do you feel about that? I mean, I think that, for me, I actually like to train people outside. I like to train
Yeah.
in different terrains. I like for them to have unstable surfaces, as an example, training on a fit ball or a stay ball, or
Yeah.
training on AirPods or something like that, or on a Bosu, so that they're moving around, so they have
Exactly.
to have control. And I
Yeah.
don't know if this is the same thing you're alluding to, but on a ship. But I like to give people these kinds of challenges.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, I've done stuff on the Bosu ball and obviously you're not lifting the weights that you would if you're standing if you got both feet planted on the ground because it's a whole different experience. But I know that when I was on that particular cruise ship, I know that I was all of a sudden because I knew what was going on. I was hyper focused on everything that
Which
was going
good.
on. Yeah, which is
That's
good, but
good.
it was a not that I'm not unfocused because I kind of I don't know about you, but when I'm lifting heavy, I kind of go into a different kind of mental state, almost a meditative state, and so I really noticed is like all of a sudden I became very aware of the motion that was going on and the tipping back and forth of the boat as when I leaned back and started to do my bench presses or shoulder presses or whatever. It was a very different experience. So Nate, I want to talk about your site. And I know that you have when I looked at your site, you had a number of clients that have been with you for, if I remember correctly, maybe one of them, if I correctly, it was about 20 years. Uh, and that's a huge testament to your program because people normally don't stick around for 20 years unless there's an incredible amount of value there. So tell me, what is ageless workout? And what does that mean?
So let me just try to touch on this idea when you talk about 20 years. So we like to work on relationships, right? We believe the relationships are important. That it's I always say it's never, and my partner said the same thing. It's never about the exercise. It's about the relationships and how you can get people to grow over maybe lifting weights or a conversation. You get people to do things that they didn't think they could do, right? So that's how you get people to associate with you over a 20-year period. That there's a certain level of trust that's built. You watch people have babies, and you go through birthday parties and other types of celebrations with them, and they help you to accomplish some things, and you help them to accomplish things in their lives. So that's how 20 years actually can happen. And we're proud to have that happen with the president of the FIU, or the president of Florida International University, and so many other people that we associate with. But the Ageless workout is, we say that it's more than working out, that it's really about an attitude. So there are three things that actually go with the Ageless workout. You have to have the workout, but you also have to have the mindset. And then we are encouraging and looking for like-minded people. And we like to think that there's that 3 in 10, 3 people in 10 who have decided, or who are in the process of deciding that they want to take their life back, that they want to live life on a certain level, that they want a certain quality of life that, gives them some exuberance, that makes them feel good about who they are, that even if you lift 5 pounds, it was 5 pounds more than you lifted before. So it's that combination of all of those factors that we put together that we call the Ageless workout. It's not about that you are not aging, but it's about turning back the clock. And so getting up early and knowing that when you get up that you're going to do something, that you have somewhere to go, knowing that you're going to see some people and they're going to talk to you about what they're doing and how they're accomplishing. So it's this group of people, or what we call the tribe, who are sort of encouraging each other to continue to go forward. I mean, there are just so many more things that we can glean from each other. And so for yourself that having a tribe, or having family and friends who are encouraging you, they, like you said before, that gets you going. So it's all of those things that make up the Ageless workout. It's not just one thing. It's not a set of exercises that you do, although we do have exercises that we recommend and ways that we recommend that people do through the Ageless workout, but it's so much more. It's mind, body, and spirit that we call the thing that we call the Ageless workout. I hope that makes sense.
Oh, it does. It totally does. And it obviously it can't be just the workout. It's got to be the whole thing about getting your mind in the right place, especially as you get older, because that's a challenge for people. They get an injury or things like that, and how do they deal with?
Let me give you a prime example.
Okay.
My partner, Sheba, is over 60. She's going to be 64. She had hip replacement. She did prehab. She did rehab. And then within a matter of a couple of weeks, she was back out doing her exercises. Now, would she be able to tell somebody how to deal with hip replacement? Well, how to get back on track with hip replacement? Absolutely, because she's been there, she's done that, and got a T-shirt, and she's back on track, and she's still moving along. She's a businesswoman. I mean, so she's all of these things that aspiring young people want to do, but also older people. That she knows how to get to the place that they want to get to. Me, been through the military. I was an administrator, but I've also had my own share of what I call the hard knocks of life. I always say that I got a PhD in the hard knocks of life. I've been through mental health fatigue. Can I tell somebody how to make it? Can I help somebody? So it's the experiences. It's all of these things that we talk about that we've lived. We're not just people who read books. We're people who are doing things and know how to do it because we've been around and we can share with people what the pitfalls are and how to be successful. That's again what is, I think that separates us from so many other people.
Oh, absolutely. As we talked about earlier, a lot of people can, everybody knows the right thing to say. Everybody knows the right thing to say right now, but it's actually the experience of actually going through it, working through injuries, working towards days, and quite frankly, I have them. I don't know if you have them. There are days I don't want to work out. I mean,
Of
quite
course, I
frankly,
have days like that, but I do it anyway.
yeah, exactly. You do it anyway most of the time. Actually, and that is true most of the time. There are days I don't want to, and I just say like, fuck it, I'm not doing it. But it's a day. It's not a week. It's not a month.
Right.
It's a day, and so it's you get back to it. Tell us a little bit, and a lot, and our listeners need to know that there's an opportunity to work with you virtually, and you have lots. Can you tell us a little bit about the programs that you have available on your website?
So yeah. So most of our programs are virtual. That means that like we're doing right now, it's Zoom. I mean, we can do Facebook Live or something like that, or we could do some other platforms. Um, but most of our work is done through Zoom. And so there are any number of classes that we offer through Zoom, but we also do personal training, just like you would do face to face. So I send you this link, you open up the link, and then we go through a series of workouts on a personal level. I send you the link, and and I also send maybe a 15, 20, or 30 other people who want to participate in the class. You have the option in terms of Zoom to either show your face or not. So that way at home, you don't have to dress up. You don't have to move, and you could do a Zoom class, whether it's our, Ageless Rip for Men, or Ageless 360 workout, or the family workout, or, Soulful Stretch. I mean, there are about 10 or 12 different entities or programs that we have in terms of classes, but we also, like I said, do small group personal training, or individual face, or Zoom personal training. And then the other piece, if you're coming to Miami, then we do face to face, and we're able to do that right now. And many of our programs we like to do in the environment or outside. So there are just any number of opportunities for people to interact with us. And they're on the website, www.agelessworkout.com. And then we have a sister website, which is Panache Fitness, www.panachefitness.com. And you can see who our clients are, the types of people that we work with. And more times than not, they're what people call baby boomers. We like to call them modern seniors or active aging adults. We we also work with people who have challenges around stroke, multiple sclerosis, or Parkinson's, or just any special needs. And that's where our medical fitness piece fits into the conversation. So we're well versed in those areas as well. So that, in a nutshell, gives you sort of synopsis of the Ageless workout.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's absolutely amazing that you're able to work with so many people in so many different ages, in a lot of different ways, and today the virtual workout is an important part of anybody's workout, especially if they want to get the results that they want.
Yeah. So our first, people want to try our first, because we believe in ourselves. Our first session with us is always on the house. You can check it out, and if you like it, you can come back. If you don't like it, then we can always recommend you to somebody else. We always say we're not the cheapest program, but we like to think that we give people quality for the work that they're looking for, or quality experience in the workouts that we offer.
Yeah. There used to be a sign, and because I used to be a periodontal regenerative surgeon, and it said basically, do not look for the cheapest in brain surgery, parachutes, or or dental work.
Well, that would make sense. That would definitely make sense.
Yeah. Some bargains are not worth the bargain.
Yeah, and that would, I think that would apply in this case. I mean, if you're looking for somebody who is, just going to give you the best rate, then perhaps we're not the people. But if you're looking for somebody that's going to give you a quality experience, that's going to help you move along in the spectrum in terms of your health, wellness, and healing, and with health being at the top of the list, then we do that. So, check us out.
That's right. The links will be in the program notes, so you'll be able to check them out there, and we'll get them all. Yeah, I think a lot of times also the biggest thing when you get older is, and this is the challenge of working with someone who doesn't know what they're doing, is injury. And when you're older, it takes you so much longer to recover from an injury than when you're in your 20s or or even 30s. I can't. I don't even remember that long ago. It's just injuries is the thing that will really set you back, and it's good. And the other thing is going to test you mentally.
You know what? I actually think about recovery from a different perspective as well. Like if I work out extremely hard, I need to get some rest in order to be able to move around the next day. Yeah. So just can you imagine if you get injured, how long it's going to take you to get back on track and you've lost ground? So that's important that you find somebody that can understand where you are. That's what we're alluding to, that we're right there in your age group, that we understand, that if you get a problem in your leg or your arm, that you need to do some work. And we refer people to our chiropractors, our physical therapists, or doctors. We have a whole list of people that we've gone to. I mean, again, it's just more than just a regular program. We even work with concierge medicine doctors because they are starting to do a prescription for working out or exercise, and we think that's a wonderful thing. So yeah, I mean, my advice is that you got to find somebody who can understand what you need and help you get there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Nate, I was looking forward to our conversation, and it's lived up to everything that I thought it was going to be. And I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to spend some time together and talk about your program, which we can find at www.agelessworkout.com. And there's program note in the program notes. There's going to be the website and the link to the other website, as well as Nate's email and other contact information, and that you'll be able to reach out to Nate if you want to, which I would strongly encourage you to do, especially if you want to have a quality of life, not just get to a number, but also at the same time a quality of life that's really important. And I think that exercising will help you maintain a quality in your life that you may not have if you don't do this, if you don't exercise regularly, if you don't take care of your body, because if you don't take care of your body, your mind is going to go too.
Absolutely. And you'll be spending all of your hard-earned dollars trying to take care of your body, because you will definitely pay for health care in some way or the other.
And with a lot of medications that have all sorts of side effects that you may not want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Nate, thank you. This is Orsi Official Old Guy. And I mean official because I have a Medicare card. So that makes me government certified old guy at oldguytalkstome.com. And reach out to Nate and take a look at his website and see if it's a fit for you. Remember, at oldguytalkstome.com, it's all about creating a kick-ass life for yourself and those that you love. Until next time. Thanks for joining me on this podcast. If you like what you heard and learned, then be sure to do 3 things. 1, subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. 2, share this with someone who may need to hear it also, and it may be your significant other. And 3, review it. Give me a good review. If you didn't like it, give me a bad review. I don't care. Just review me. And be sure to get my free video on 3 ways to get laid more frequently without begging. Opt in at oldguytalks.com. Don't be that guy that just takes in the information. Take action. Without action, you're not going to get the results you want.